Hello and welcome to this video. Today I'm going to make a very cozy cute autumnal painting on textiles, and I'm using a very limited textile paint fabric palette because I wanted to use up some of my old stuff. So I'm gonna use these textile 3D almost markers. They're not really 3D, they dry flatter, but they have a little bit more texture. And I wanted to use these fun fabric sprays. I've used them before and they're very stable on the fabric. Like when you wash it, it doesn't easily wash out and things like that if you properly iron it in. So I really love them and I've used them way too little in recent times. So these are gonna be my base, and since I have a limited color palette, I wanted to do a fun little gradient from pink to yellow, and I used the stencils that came with it, which is just like any other plastic stencil. You can even make your own. And I hope to get a nice little gradient, which I did. These spray paints are so much fun. And then I decided to make a cute little hedgehog. I saw so many pictures recently on Instagram and stuff of people that have saved hedgehogs and stuff, taking care of them, and the hedgehogs are just laying on their bed eating fruit, and you see only their arms and feet sticking out of their spikes and fur. And I wanted to kind of get that vibe. So I started off with the face. I didn't really get to pre-sketch anything because I didn't want to ruin the spray paint base or have anything showed through. So I just used a couple references and I'm gonna try to freehand it and hopefully it works. Starting out with that cute poopy nose and the eyes. Again, I'm very limited in my color palette here, but I know that I can mix at least some shades of brown with the green and the pink, because opposing colors mix to brown. So the pink instead of the red is gonna mute it a little bit, but hopefully it shouldn't turn out too orangey and actually make a good shading brown. And I also have blacks and stuff. Now all of these paints in the tubes are glitter paints, but I thought this was actually really fun to use. Again, I'm just not really using these colors and these paints that often, and I really wanted to use them. And I didn't really pay attention to the color palette. I just wanted to make a hedgehog, so I was like, you know what, let's make it a challenge. I'm sure I can make this work. I do really like that they come with these really thin nibs for the colors, because that means you can do outlines and stuff. They're not as fine as they could be, but that's because they have glitter in them. I've seen them without glitter, and they are a bit more detailed. I did this hedgehog to first I thought hold a fruit or something, and then I thought, you know what, no, I'm gonna make it hold a heart. This heart actually gave me the most trouble out of all because the shading of it was a nightmare. But let's not go to that part yet. Let's keep our sanity and keep working on this cute little hedgehog that already looks so adorable. My camera does have some problems picking up glitters and stuff because it's this is too bright, let me adjust. So I had to really work with my all the settings here to make it kind of visible, because the face, as you can see, is kind of still merging it a bit. But I think you guys can still see more than enough. And I actually had a lot of fun challenging myself with the palette. But yeah, as you can see, I applied a decent bit of pigment to the heart, and when it dried, I let it dry in between coats. I just used the hairdryer to slightly dry it on top first, and then I just let it air dry because I didn't want anything too smudged. But basically it dries way more flat, and it's more these gummy-esque layers that you get on a lot of t-shirts for those prints. So it's very comparable to that. Now I did mess up the foot a little bit in the beginning, but I knew that I wanted to color it a little bit more anyway, so I knew I could fix it. I guess it was just more so making it way too small. But for the second foot it actually worked out perfectly. And again, for not doing this with any base sketch, I think it turned out super good. And then it was finally time to mix up some browns. So I got this almost milk chocolate brown out of this, and I'm using a brush here to apply it because this is gonna be my base color to like kind of flesh out the body shape. And when it's not layered on too thickly, it's actually kind of see-through. So this as the base color, like it needs one more layer, but it worked really well for like, you know, mixing two very, very bright colors and getting like a darker brownish shade that I needed for the hedgehog. Again, it is glitter paint, so it is like a bit more stubborn to work with. But I think for like the materials and like especially the fun I had, it was more than worth it. And I like that like sometimes when you've done like art with like your normal palette and you change it up, you really like get to experience like a new style and like get to approach things differently. So this was really just such a fun challenge, and I just didn't know if I can get a decent outcome at all. Also, I'm not like a person that draws itty bitty like fur details usually. It's one of the things I really want to practice, also for my watercolor artworks and stuff. So this was one of the like first starts where I really had to add like different shadings, because hedgehogs have so many colors just in their spikes, which is very adorable. But it's, for me, I always struggle to like capture that in art form. So I really hope that I could with this artwork. Going around like with some silver and highlights. I'm actually working with the base color still not having fully dried here to like blend it in, and like when I added like a little bit of a darker shading and then the lighter shading, like other colors, they blend in slightly but not too much, and I think it does help a little bit to like make them feel more cohesive, because I think if it was like the face where like the full color would be like, you know, really, really vibrant, shiny, I think it would be too much. I did add some darker shading all around the back because it was like a bit too small. Like hedgehogs are really like chunky, fluffy, cute looking when they're lying on their back, so I felt like I needed to add some chunk to add to the cuteness. Don't worry, it's just his little spikes. It's just, you know, it's not actually him being chunk. It's just extra fluff. Still, very cute, I think. I did tone down the face a little bit with the brown shading because I thought it was a bit too bright. I still left the eyes and ears as they were though. And then for the hands and feet, they have like more of like a pinkish tone, so I just literally used the white and the pink, mixed them up, and I think they turned out so adorably. Like, at this point, I was having so much fun being in the zone just for this simple painting with this color challenge. Definitely was worth trying, and I think the outcome is super cute. I've actually, since I made this painting like a couple of weeks ago, I've used this bag so many times. I didn't think I would use it this much, but yeah, I think the outcome speaks for itself. After I painted the body, I did go into the heart, and I went a lot of back and forth with like pinks and whites and like darker pinks to try and shade this. It didn't fully turn out how I wanted it to. I think I had a problem with like the contrast lacking and the color not blending too well, because I usually am not too bad at shading hearts like this, but for some reason this was truly the hardest part. But it's fine, sometimes you have like a day where certain things are more difficult, and you know, the more you practice the better you get. But yeah, I in the end I managed to have a decent result, and then I looked at it and I was like, the surrounding area is a bit too vibrant for the hedgehog to stand out, since it has these muted brown tones that's completely like overtaken with the reds. So I doused the outside carefully in a bit of isopropanol, and I rubbed off a little bit, and it definitely lifted off some of the pigment and it made it lighter, and I think it helped a lot. So I did iron it fully and I gave it a little wash, and here's the final outcome. And I have to say, it's so adorable. Again, it was so hard to take a proper picture, so I'm sorry that like some of the minor details like on the feet and stuff kind of vanish on this. But they're there in person, and it's so shiny and so nice and fun. I definitely kind of regret to have only done this now and come back to fabric painting like this now, because I used to like customize things with fabric paints quite a lot and have quite an extensive collection of like I'm gonna say better brand of paint, but these were still like as an entry level thing and just for like fun, these were great. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below what you thought of this design, and let me know if you've ever worked with these kind of fabric paints before and what you use them for. I've used them for many projects. I've painted like things like this, but I also did repair some shirts that I had where like the original print started cracking, and I used these kind of paints with and without glitter to repair them. And I think it's actually a great thing to have at hand if you have like a favorite shirt with the design slowly cracking and fading. Like you can go over it and touch it up to a certain degree, or just, you know, maybe add something to the design that was missing in your eyes. I think it's a great way of customizing. And of course, as always, I hope you have a great day. See you next time. Bye bye!